Welcome to Everyday Faith, and today we want to take a foundational look at faith because the purpose of this presentation, the purpose of this series, this podcast is to teach you how to have faith, how to exercise faith, that you would be established in faith because it will also establish your relationship with God. It will bring you into God likeness. No, we want to establish the foundational principle of faith because faith is built upon what you believe to be possible. So when it comes to faith, you're only going to be able to exercise faith for what you actually believe to be possible, because faith is in itself an action. It is an action that is propelled by thoughts and intentions and motives and a belief system. So at the foundation of faith is belief. So belief lies at the foundation of faith. So you will only be able to exercise faith for something that you believe to be possible. So because the Wright brothers believed that flight was possible, they were able to exercise faith to be able to fly, to make the correct tool of an aircraft to cause them to be able to fly. That was an act of faith, and that is the natural process of faith. Faith acts upon what we first believe to be possible. So if you do not believe it to be possible, you will not be able to exercise faith for it to happen. So the first thing that we have to center ourselves on, the first thing that we have to ground ourselves securely and firmly on is, what do I actually believe to be possible? So then you must have a very honest conversation with your soul. You can't go on a journey unless you count the cost of that journey. So when you are going on this journey of faith, you first have to investigate in your soul what you actually believe to be possible for your life. And sometimes there are things that need to happen, and they cannot happen unless we first believe it to be possible. And then we in ourselves or of ourselves, we don't believe it to be possible, but then we need information from some person else, or we need inspiration from some person else to help us to see the possibility of things, to help us to see that it is possible with us. This is why we need each other. This is why we need to constantly be inspired. So faith requires information, faith requires inspiration. And so this information and this inspiration, it informs our belief system. So people are only able to accomplish certain things in life because they saw somebody else do it, and because they saw somebody else do it or go before them and accomplish it, it inspired them to believe that they too can do it. And because they were inspired to believe that they too can accomplish that thing, they were now able to activate faith to accomplish that very thing that they were inspired by some person else to believe to be possible. This is why your faith journey is important to some person else's life, because your journey of faith inspires someone else's faith. So faith is not a solitary, confined thing. Faith is very infectious. Faith is very inspiring. So the world is waiting on your faith. Some person is waiting on your faith to be inspired by your faith so that it can adjust their belief system. So beloved, if you want to exercise faith today, if you want to grow your faith, if you want to strengthen your faith, you first must have a very honest conversation with your soul in what you believe to be possible. So if you do not believe something to be possible, you're going to be hard pressed to exercise faith for something that you do not believe to be possible. So then the first step of faith is to examine your belief system. What is your belief system? What are the limitations that you have placed upon your own thinking? What are the limitations that you have placed upon your life as a result of your thinking? So if you believe that you are only going to you're only going to reach a particular level, you cannot exercise faith to exceed that level. In order to exceed that level by faith, you have to adjust your belief system. So faith goes according to what you believe to be possible. So belief is first. Belief is what you accept as a reality. And so therefore your belief system accepts something as truth, it accepts it as fact, it accepts it as reality. It becomes a guiding force, it becomes a guiding principle in your life, and the energy of your faith follows that belief. What does Jesus say about this? Jesus says about this in Mark chapter 10 and verse 27, and Jesus looking upon them said, with men it is impossible, but not with God, for with God all things are possible. And in Mark chapter 9 and verse 23, it says, Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believes. So with God all things are possible, and all possibility exists with God. And now you have that the Creator makes all things possible. So here we have the Creator makes all things possible, and also believing makes things possible as well. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believe. So your belief system makes things possible because God makes things possible. And so therefore your belief system and your faith, it brings you into connection to the power of God. This is why it is extremely important for you to know what you actually believe consciously and subconsciously. Because you don't want to sabotage your own faith by consciously saying that you believe something to be possible, but unconsciously or subconsciously you doubt or you have trepidation or timidity regarding that very thing that you are saying with your mouth is possible, but you are thinking with your mind that it is not possible at all, beloved. So it is extremely important for you in the pursuit of faith or in the exercise of faith for you to address your belief system, because if you can believe, all things are possible to you that believe. So the reason why many people think they exercise faith, and faith goes from faith to faith. Faith goes from level to level. And so sometimes we would realize that we have faith for something at one level, but at a different level we don't have faith for that other thing. And so this is something that we constantly and consistently we have to do. Is not that you have one faith and that faith covers everything in your life. That faith literally has to keep on growing to meet every emergency of life. That faith that you have has to constantly grow to meet every requirement of life. So your faith is something that has to grow, and because it has to grow in order to make things possible, then it is incumbent upon you, it is necessary of you, beloved, to examine your belief system so that you would know what you really and truly believe. So the possibility of things occurring in your life right now, right here, today, hinges upon whether or not you believe it to be so. And so therefore, one of the things that helps you to believe where you don't believe or when you can't believe is the inspiring stories of other people that did believe and it happened. It is the as Christ says, he's the author and the finisher of our faith. So the stories of faith in the Bible, the stories of faith in other people's personal experience, these are the things that adjust your belief system. As a matter of fact, 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 13, it says, we, having the same spirit of faith, according as it is written, I believed and therefore have I spoken. We also believe and therefore speak. So if you, in order to adjust your belief system, you have to adjust your speech, because you only speak what you actually believe. So if you don't believe, then you literally have to affirm what you want to believe so that you will believe it, so that you will be able to exercise faith for it. Because often our speech betrays us and it reveals what we really and truly believe. And this is why joking and making a fool of yourself can weaken your faith, because, beloved, what you speak is what you really and truly believe. So you must then be careful of your speech. You must then be cognizant of what you say, when you say, how you say, to who you say it with. You must be very cognizant to who you speak to, because there are some people that when you speak to them, their speech is entirely faithless. Their speech is weak. Their speech is defeated. Their speech, they are always a victim in the narrative of their life, and everything wrong is happening to them, and nothing right can't happen for them, and everything is difficult for them, and everything is hard for them, and everything is just, everybody's working against them, and that person by their speech is defeated. And they're defeated because their speech is weakening their belief, and their speech is a product of their negative beliefs that they have. So, beloved, if you want to exercise faith, you first have to address and adjust your belief system, and you have to adjust your speech. Your speech must accommodate faith. And this is how you are able to have an everyday faith. You have an everyday faith through the way that you speak. So that every time, guard your lips, monitor your mouth, so that every time you speak, your speech is building your faith and not breaking your faith. Your speech is building somebody else's faith and not breaking their faith. So be very cognizant, be very careful in what you speak. If you really want to build faith, you have to be very circumspect in what you speak, and you cannot take speech in vain. You have to be cognizant of idle words, because you do not want to defeat your own faith. So this is how we have an everyday faith, beloved. Faith is a lifestyle. It is not something that we exercise on special occasions or just for an emergency. Faith is something that we exercise on an everyday basis. And this is the kind of faith that you want, beloved. You want an everyday faith. Blessings and peace.